Every single Minecraft dimension holds a unique environment, unique mobs, and unique blocks. The overworld is familiar to us because of its earthly nature, containing biomes, animals, and structures that look exactly like what we have in real life. The Nether. A fiery, unforgiving underworld full of dangers, but also valuable rewards. The environment is strange, but also somehow familiar to us. The creatures themselves look like distorted versions of the mobs of the overworld. Exploring here is important to own the most powerful gear, but only the most daring are willing to enter. The End. The very name of the dimension defines your fate if you enter, whether it's the end of your life or the end of things to do. With this being the case, not everyone chooses to get this far. But now, for the first time in years, we witnessed the portal of a brand new dimension. The rumors must be true. The ancient city holds a broken portal, and it's up to Mojang to bring this portal to life. It's obvious that this is a portal, but how is it opened, and what goes beyond it? We know that the portal is located in an ancient city, so the portal itself is most likely ancient as well. Even though the portal is old, we don't know for sure if it's been opened before. Could it be possible that the civilians who lived in the city went through the portal, or has it never been opened once? To answer that question, we first have to ask why the Sculk is here. Did it come from the portal, or was it here all along? We need to know this to understand what's really inside the deep dark portal. If the Sculk came from the portal, then it's clear. On the other side of the ancient portal, players will see a new dimension full of Sculk everywhere. A Sculk dimension? Yeah, sounds pretty dangerous if the Warden is just one of many mobs from the portal. Maybe the Warden is one of the weakest mobs from the Sculk dimension. This would give players a whole new level of difficulty without it being forced to the player to enter. It would be pretty convenient if the new dimension also held a new boss. If there was a new boss, it would probably be possible to fight it multiple times, similar to how the Wither and the Ender Dragon can be resummoned. However, what if this boss was a bit different? What if it couldn't be resummoned, but instead you had to search for it, meaning there are many of the same boss found across the dimension endlessly? This would encourage players to explore the dimension rather than farm the boss in one location. I can imagine the boss being found in a structure of some sort and maybe guarding something. I'm sure you could find loot in these structures as well, just to make the experience a little more rewarding when you're exploring. Okay, I did not mean to make that rhyme, but do you think there's going to be structures in the dimension? I say why not. This boss would be the strongest boss in the game, dealing more damage, has more health, and uses attacks that force players to be on their toes. I feel like the boss should be difficult enough to require a whole team to defeat it, making this boss the first you couldn't defeat on your own. But if you did solo this boss, you would be seen as the GOAT. And of course, this boss would be Sculk themed, and maybe the boss started the spreading of the Sculk. Boss ideas are cool, but it's not guaranteed. Creating ideas for the environment for the dimension is more reasonable though. That being said, I'd like to explain how I think the deep dark dimension should look, and not in a cheesy non-vanilla way. Believe it or not, I actually had a dream of the Sculk dimension. Yes, you just caught me in 4K saying that I have dreams about Minecraft. So in this dream, the dimension had Sculk everywhere, but it also had infected deep slate everywhere too. The deep slate was still usable, it's just that the Sculk became embedded with the deep slate to corrupt it. There was also a Sculk colored haze throughout the dimension, limiting your vision. It's not a bad idea, but I think realistically it should just simply be dark. That way it kind of matches the theme of the deep dark. But anyway, that's not even the coolest part. What was really interesting is that in my dream, the dimension block generation was like an alternate overworld. Now, the environment was enclosed like the Nether, so it had no sky, but there were still mountains and trees and even green toxic water. The mountains weren't standing upright though. Instead, they were coming through the walls of the dimension. And the trees? Yeah, first off, those were Sculk infested trees that looked pretty cool, but the trees were upside down, hanging from the ceiling. And the water I was talking about, yeah, that was clinging to the ceiling as well, not at all being affected by gravity. But then, my dream revealed why that was the case. And that's because if you jumped while you were right next to a wall, the gravity would change your character to flip on their side and stand on the wall. So the ceiling was now your wall, and the floor you just stood on was also a wall. This dimension had its own unique gravity force to allow you to climb even the ceiling and chop down those trees. I know, this is just a dream and it's nothing confirmed or even very accurate to what this new dimension will look like, but I still thought it was a cool idea, and some of the features I listed could work for the Sculk dimension. And if Sculk was in the overworld all along and the portal leads to something else, okay, let's be honest here, the Sculk was 100% from the portal, bro. I'm really not sure what kinds of loot would be found in the Sculk dimension, but it's got to be some pretty valuable loot if the difficulty in there is going to be extremely high. Minecraft kind of lacks the extensive progression feeling since diamonds are insanely easy to find thanks to the cave update, and in reality, no one needs netherite except for maybe tools. You can survive nearly anything with just enchanted diamond armor. But if the Sculk dimension is hard to explore even with netherite, then there's bound to be some crazy loot to find or craft in there. I really hope new types of shields will be introduced in the Sculk dimension update, because new enchantments and new sizes of shields, and heck, even new material types like diamond for stronger durability would be fantastic. As usual, I'm just here to share my opinion because I think it matters, but so does yours. That's why I made my Opinions Matter merch that's only available throughout the rest of the summer. So be sure to check it out in the description, leave a like, share what you think the Sculk dimension will look like in the comments, and subscribe for more Minecraft content like this.